mungkin apa ya, maaf, mahasiswi mau belajar meneliti tentang Jepangnya itu tahu itu ini peta yang apa ya terbit di kira-kira Showa 10 年. Showa 10 年itu berarti itu 19 tahun 1935 1935 ya yang terbit. Dan Kyushu ini pro Kyushu dalam Jepang. Dan mungkin hari ini sesungguhnya maaf, saya masih riset itu dan kata-kata bahasa Indonesianya sudah lama hilang. Maka saya mau coba ingat dan dan kadang-kadang maaf ya bercampur dalam bahasa Inggris dan bahasa Indonesianya. Tapi saya mau coba berbahasa Indonesianya. Ya, dan firstly, I want to introduce myself. I'm from saya sekarang saya sedang mengajar tentang sejarah hubungan internasional dan apa ya khususnya bidang sejarah politik, sosial dan ekonomi itu khususnya itu apa ya outline khususnya untuk mahasiswa-mahasiswi dari negara asing, especially for the foreign students. I'm just now teaching the outline of the Japanese and Southeast Asian interchange relationship, the history of Japan and Southeast Asia, and also including the Asia. Dan maaf, dan mau coba dalam bahasa Indonesianya. Dan saya kira 5 hari saya mau memberikan short lecture and mau tukar menukar pikiran dan apa ya ideas and saya kira I hope just to give some tips and some ideas for the young Indonesian students for present your research on your specialty on the Japanese study and so. And hari ini saya mau membicara tentang mungkin one of the origin of the Japanese image of expected image for the Japanese development since the Meiji period and until the end of the Pacific War. And maybe I think I want to just discuss the post-war period, especially in the just shed light on the 1960s and 70s. Saya mau memberi short lecture to trace the post-war Japan and Indonesian relations and so. Maka saya coba mulai today's lecture just to begin the background of Japanese entry into Asia and also the Southeast Asian countries. And kenapa saya mau apa ya mengintroduksikan Momotaronya itu? Momotaronya itu mungkin mahasiswa-mahasiswinya tahu ya riwayat old folktale dari Jepang. Dan saya kira ini dan hari ini saya mau mengintroduksikan digital sources dari Japan National Film Archives. Saya kira kalau dari Indonesianya juga bisa menyambung dan saya kira bisa menonton itu apa ya film animation film asli just apa ya released in tahun 1928 dan 19 dan 19 animation so yang kuno bisa menonton dari Indonesia via internet. Nanti saya apa ya I want to share these files to the students and docents and other many Indonesian scholars who want to study the Japanese in Japan. Andはい。これは南共有。これですか？Maaf, sebentar saja. Tunggu sebentar. Saya mau coba apa ya mengakseskan address Nihon Animation 映画クラシック。 あ、はいはい、そうですね。ちょっと
切れば。USB であるんですね。ね。多分
はい. Maaf sebentar. Ya, maaf mengganggu. Tolong tunggu sebentar. Ah, ya, tunggu, tunggu. Ya, tunggu, tunggu. Tunggu lagi. Tunggu. Ya. Atau dari komputer yang lain? Apa ya? Masuk. Ya, ya, oke. Ya, maafkan. Maafkan saya. Ditunggu. Ya, ini mungkin ini homepage ini ada dalam bahasa Inggris. Hmm, ya, ini ya. Ya, ini rekomendasi saya khususnya untuk mahasiswa-mahasiswi di negara asing, tapi mau meneliti, mau belajar tentang sejarah film atau sejarah animation di Jepang. Dan ini animation.filmarchives.jp /en /index.html later. Nanti saya mau share this address. Tapi khususnya bisa menonton seperti momen. Nanti saya mau membicara tentang apa ya, Japanese advance movements. Jepannya kalau mau apa ya, mempromosikan uh, uh, like Momotaro. Momotaro is a final edition, final version of Momotaro. Would be the Momotaro Umi no Shinpe. Saya mau mengintroduksikan itu film, animation film apa ya, 25 April. Dan saya mau hari ini saya mau membicara tentang Momotaro. Momotaro juga bisa menonton dalam homepage ini. Sepertinya itu mau coba. Dan mungkin masuk keyword Momotaro atau ya. Anyway, sepertinya itu bisa mengecek, mencari-cari karakter in the volleyball period sebelum Perang Pasifik. Dan mungkin Anda kaget, mungkin sepertinya itu asal dari Amerika, aslinya itu Mickey Mouse dan sepertinya. Dan juga apa ya, datang ke Jepang dan transformasi kepada apa ya, Japanese dan sepertinya. Dan saya kira ini animation ini itu apa ya, paling terlama yang pertama, apa ya, beberapa orang, beberapa sekarang sedang meneliti the origin of the Japanese animation. Saya kira, maybe I think this is the oldest animation films. And Dan nanti saya mau mengintroduksikan itu ini Norakuro. It's a homeless dog of Norakuro. Ini juga apa ya? Maaf, just try in English. Maybe 2, 3 days later, I can remember the English Indonesian language. for the worldwide, just promoting the Japanese studies in the global perspectives. And this is just the Norakuro stories. Maybe later, this story of Norakuro, I want to introduce you. But maybe how can I find the Momotaro? Sorry, maybe I think I know for your just try to find so many characters, and this also just contains some animation films, including Momotaro. But how can I achieve the some keyword? Maybe I think it's easier to enter the Momotaro word of Momotaro. Or maybe in the Japanese, uh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And Indian, this is the Otogi Banashi Nihonichi Momotaro. Maybe I think it's this have the with English subtitles. We can see this animation. Maybe I think it's for your own selves, your device. You can just try to watch these animation films. And this is the original version of Japanese old folktale of Momotaro story. And 見えますか？ And this is, you see, in the 1920s to 30s, there's no sound recording. It's just the beginning of the animations and film. If we trace back the history of film, it's just beginning, no sound recording. And this animation also have no records, sound record. And this is the original story of Momotaro. But yeah, and maybe I think it's just so useful, or if we trace back the Japanese uh, modernization process in the early 20th centuries. Maybe I think it's these two animation films, one just released in 1931, and another it's just 1932. It's just maybe I think it's possible how the Momotaro just modernized, and how and why Momotaro just tried to catch up the age of 1930s, and what happened in the history of Japanese modernization process. It's just modernization to import the new technology of airplanes. And another, this Momotaro under the sea, just reflecting the modernization of the weapons. It's a submarines. And both two animation films just uses the Momotaro's new items, just reflecting the, I think it's, it's the 1930s, just the beginning of the Japanese total war system just launched. And also just to promoting the economic and also military expansion process, and some scholars just pointed out. And maybe I think it's just to try to share these animations firstly. And also this is no sound music. Usually this animation film just projected in the theaters everywhere in Japan. Yeah, this is it. It's a Momotaro in the sky. And just this, just maybe I think this is subtitle in Japanese, just indicating. Yes, this one. Yes, sir. I understand your situations. We defeat the rogue shark everywhere in the South Sea. And this penguin just coming to Japan and ask the support to defeat the rogue eagle in somewhere in the south. And Momotaro just decided, yes, we will help you prepare for takeoff immediately, just saying. And finally, Momotaro just prepared the airplanes and together with Monkey and yes, this is the named Momotaro's planes. Yeah, and they just berangkat ke the South Sea. And before the departure, they just adored to the God and just take off. And I think this is directly reflecting the social situation in the 1930s. I think it's 19. And maybe I think it's this homepage and just watch your with your own devices. Yeah, it's okay. This is not, this have no sounds, no records, no recording, sound recording. And maybe I think it's be better to proceed. The, and this is just the fighting between the log, ego, and Momotaro. And I think it's if we learn the history of international relations of Japan's in 1930s, we can find so serious debate, conflict between the United States and Japan, just especially about the Japanese cheap products exports to the United States, and also just raise a big problem of Japanese immigrants to the United States, especially the California and Hawaii islands. And just reflecting, maybe I think serious trouble between the United States and Japan. And this film, this eagle, maybe I think it's, and some people just pointed out, this just projected the image, the Japanese image of the United States in the 1930s. And another film, maybe I think, it's a Umi no Momotaro. Yeah, this one. And this one also just have no sound recording. And this animation just begin with the situation in the under the sea, and you know is in the sea, maybe the Ryugujo Castle, and also this Ryugujo just appeared in the story of Urashima Taro. Urashima Taro. Urashima Taro also just so famous Japanese animation films. The Ryugujo was attacked by the evil shark, just to ask to help to defeat evil shark. Maybe just to try for your own with your own device. I think it'd be better. Just share later. Share this PDF file I want to share with you. And I have just tried to show you these original animation films. Okay, yeah. And I have just shown, I have just tried to show you these old Japanese animation films. Yeah. And firstly, just original edition of traditional Japanese folktale of Momotaro stories. And secondly, Momotaro in Sky Adventure. Just attack to defeat the evil rogue eagle in maybe I think it's somewhere in the South Sea. And thirdly, this is just so interesting for me. This is the Momotaro. Sorry, this is the long. It's a sea adventure or under the sea. And just to try to check with your own devices. It's a so good materials you can get for your own studies. And this is the original Momotaro stories. I think it's you in Indonesia. I think it's this Momotaro's old folk tale so famous, and many people know about these stories. And please send second slide. And this also just contains the original. And finally, Momotaro succeeded to conquer the evil demon in Onigashima Islands and get the treasure from the demon's islands everywhere in the, maybe I think it's in South Sea. And finally, return to their home countries. And secondly, I have just tried to show you, introduce you. The Momotaro gets a new mode of high technology in the 1930s to attack the rogue evil ego. And sadly, this is Momotaro underwater adventures. And finally, they succeeded to kill the evil shark to defend the people of Ryugujo Castle under the sea. And finally, I think this is a good presentation of age of militarization, I think it, and just graduated from the queen of the Ryujo castle. And this is the happy end of these animation films. And not today. I want to introduce these animations. This is, in my opinion, and also just to John Dower also just mentioned about these animation films. I have prepared the maybe I think it's I want to share this the parts of the chapter of the book by John Dower. His book is War Without Mercy, just published in 1986. Yes, with you. And John Dower also just mentioned about this animation of Momotaro. And I think this is a final version of transformation of so naive, friendly Momotaro image just transformed in line with the Japanese imperial expansion process since the early 20th centuries. And this Momotaro, Umi no Shinpei, and another short animation film also just made in the I think it's 1943, I think. Momotaro no Umiwashi. This film also just so famous. But this Momotaro Umi no Shinpei just reflected the wartime Japanese public feelings. Like this is just the documentary films just released in 1943. It's just illustrating the Japanese Army's campaign in invading Malayan Peninsula. And in this film, and also real general conducted this operation, this campaign to invade the Malayan Peninsula, and finally the Singapore fall into the Japanese army. And this is the process of final meeting between General Yamashita and Commander Percival in the 1942. And when we watch these animation films, just reflected, just projected the story of fall of Singapore, just indicating General Yamashita becomes Momotaro, and his generals becomes monkey, bears, other animals. And British commanders and generals just appeared as demons. And of Momotaro story. And John Dower already introduced to the public in the wartime propaganda, just indicating. This is, I think, is some cartoons from the journals or newspapers in the wartime Japan, just published during the Pacific War. And this just indicating this war is just a so-called Great East Asian War or Daito Senso in the wartime official name of the Pacific War, just indicating the Japanese official slogan of the Pacific War is just the establishment of East Asian co-prosperity spheres. And just the reason why Japan invaded Southeast Asia is just kick out the Western colonial powers from Southeast Asia. And the demons is just this indicating this is President Roosevelt of United States. And this face is just similar to the face of Prime Minister Winston Churchill of United Kingdom. And also, as I just mentioned, in this classic folklore rendering, is this one. Japan's wartime mission is this is just a citation from the John Dower's book. The Japan's wartime mission associated with the divinely born Momotaro or Peach Boy, who, with the aid of a dog, peasant, and monkey, subdued threatening demons from a distant island, distant land. The banner reads English, established the East Asia co-prosperity sphere, where the lapels on Momotaro's overgarments identify him as the first in the world, or Nipponichi and Sekaiichi. This is a citation from John Dower's book. And also another cartoons just indicating the Japanese propaganda during the wartime. And these demons is just a mask of human, but it's a real face is just demons. This is a so usual appearances during the Pacific War. But this is the Japanese propaganda appearance to the public. Please, next. And I think is this is also just so popular Japanese propaganda posters. And this is a neon in Amsterdam. It's a Netherlands Institute for all of documentary. It's a National Institute of War Documentation. They have so much amount of great collections just captured in Indonesia just after the Pacific War. And such kind of the Japanese propaganda posters also just reflected the Japanese attitude, Japanese stereotypes. And maybe I think, in my opinion, the Momotaro's transformation process also just to indicate such kind of the transformation of Japanese image to Asia and Southeast Asia and other countries, foreign countries. So I want to trace, to collect such kind of the materials to get the image of the period since the early 20th centuries, and I'm just trying to collect other materials, including Godzilla films, sci-fi Godzilla films, and other animations, cartoons, and just projecting the Japanese perception of the people, culture of Southeast Asian countries. And please next. And I want to just compare with other perspectives from the old nations, especially if we discuss about Indonesian problems. We can't forget this such kind of the Dutch stereotype image of Indonesian people. This is also if we have time, I want to discuss about this image. And I have checked these posters in Koninklijk Bibliotheek, Royal Library of in Netherlands. They have also just collected so much amounts of such kind of the posters, painting, and cartoons, I think. And this also just so famous in the Netherlands. This is a so clear image of the Dutch stereotype in the post-war period. And maybe I think this is also just so famous in Indonesia. It's just indicating that between the Dutch and the Indonesian people have already so long friendship. So even for the Jap come to Indonesia and tried to cut the strong tie between Dutch and Indonesian, it's impossible. We have so long centuries tie between two nations. It's impossible, even for even for the Jap tried to cut. It's impossible. And the Dutch people in the post-war period, now in the post-war period, they are so poor situations and facing so big problems. let's collect the money to help Indonesian people. And the Indonesian people, willingly return to our mother's hands. And this also just such kind of the materials. Now I'm trying to do research of such kind of the stereotype image of other nations. And sorry, and this is my broader expansion of image, how the Japanese tried to expand overseas. Maybe I think it's these old maps published in 1935. Then, it's a mainland Japan painted in red ink. Firstly, Japan opened the door to the foreign countries, and so-called Kaikoku opened the door to the foreign countries in late Edo period, and so-called Meiji restorations began in 1868. And after that, Japan formally integrated as a Edo region, Hokkaido. It's as a Hokkaido formal inclusion of Japanese mainland. And also just this Okinawa, it's a Ryukyu Islands. It's originally the independent kingdom. And they have also just original history of their own. But the early Meiji period, Japan formally integrated into Japanese territory, so-called Heihan Chiken, and Ryukyu Shogun, and Heihan Chiken. Abolished the fief, feudal lord, controlled the Japanese territory, but centralization process of the Japanese Tokyo government decided the modern administrative systems. And Japan integrated Hokkaido and Okinawa. And after the Sino-Japanese War gets Formosa, Taiwan, aftermath of the victory of Sino-Japanese War, 1894 to 95. And early 20th centuries, Japan integrated Korean Peninsula into the Japanese colony. I think this is the process of expansion of Japanese colonization and establishments of Japanese colonial empire. And through this process, Japan tried to penetrate to the northward. And later, I want to discuss about Norakuro. Norakuro just reflected the Japanese national policy of expansion to northward and just establishing the so-called the Manchu Kuo. It's usually the puppet state of Japanese governments and militaries, puppet states, just established in the 1930s, 32. And this is the process of the northward Japanese expansions. And later, across the border, Japan expand the main territory of China. And if we discuss about the northward advance, Norakuro, in my opinion, is a good explanation, especially for the Japanese little kids, how they learn about the national policy of northward. And another, maybe I think it's for the Indonesian perspective. It's a so good example of Boken Dankichi. I think it's a Boken Dankichi, Dankichi adventure. It's a kids story to conquer the South Sea Islands and the process of development of colonial management by Dankichi, the name of the kids. And I think it's a southward advance movement. It's just reflecting the real situation of Japanese developments. And it's just the First World War. Japan obtained the Micronesia and other Caroline Islands, and so broad territory of ex-German territory of South Sea Islands. And this also just real situation, just reflected, projected. I think it's two cartoons. One is the Norakuro. This just projected the Japanese real national policy promotion of northward. And another is just Boken Dankichi. And I think it's already published so good historical research achievements of just shedding light on the Boken Dankichi story. I think it's for the by the scholars already published, I think. And so, why Momotaro? And next slide, please. And this is, I think, it's a framework of Japanese concept of East Asia. Just tried to control other greater East Asian co-prosperity spheres. Firstly, Tokyo tried to integrate Ainu people. It's Ezochi or Hokkaido. And also just Ryukyu, Okinawa, just integrated into the part of former Japanese Empire of Okinawa Prefecture. Aftermath of Sino-Japanese War, Japan obtained Formosa, and followingly, just integrated it in the Korea into the Japanese Empire. And South Sea Islands. And finally, with the beginning of the Pacific War, Japan invaded into Southeast Asia. And next, please. And this is the plate. Just I tried to indicate the process and the structure of Japanese pre-war and wartime empire. Maybe I think this is possible. This is the expansion process just projected. This is the mainland Japan and Ryukyu, Okinawa, and Ezochi. And Japan formerly integrated Taiwan, Formosa, and Korea. This is the imperial colony of the Japanese. And later, gradually expanding the expansion process in Chinese continent, the Manchuria and Mongolia and China occupied the territory of wartime China. And finally, Japan gets the League of Nations mandate. And finally, Japanese military occupied in Southeast Asia during the Pacific War. And in my opinion, and other scholars also just pointed out, this Momotaro is just reflecting the naive, friendly image of Momotaro. This is the beginning, origin of Momotaro. But in line with the imperial expansion and militarization process in the 1930s. And please, next slide. And next, please. Momotaro becomes the good example of expected Japanese use. I think it's Momotaro is a good story. It's father's and mother's expectation and hope for the little kids become healthy and grow up as a strong, healthy youth. It's just a hope and expectations just reflected original Momotaro story. But since the Meiji period, it's just, I think, good materials to reflect the Japanese government tried to use Momotaro as a good example of expected Japanese youth or Japanese nations become like the Momotaro. And this is the originally the in the Meiji period. It's a 教育直後. And this, maybe I think it's this documents also just you can, I think it's some restrictions from the overseas. But I will try. We can check via the internet. And I want to introduce some other digital archives for your research. Maybe I think it's with such kind of the digital archives, we can check from foreign countries for our research effort on Japanese histories and so on. And this, please next. And this guidebook of 教育直後 by the Emperor of Meiji, just indicating you should become the good nation, the baby of the emperors, as a baby of emperor. You should work hard, learn hard, and just concentrate of your own study. And just concentrate to military training. Be both a good warrior and good scholar. This is just indicating the traditional virtue and the traditional virtue and moral in the pre-modern Japanese societies. But for the common people, it's so popular and understandable. And many Japanese public it's so difficult, the original text, and before with this one. It's even for the Japanese in Meiji period, it's so difficult, this original text by the Emperor of Meiji. So this is the subtext for the Japanese public. To use the Momotaro story, traditional old folk tale, and just trying to explain, to spread the national concept of how the Japanese government and how the Emperor of Japan tried to establish the new nation of Japanese Empire. And even, especially for the common people, it's difficult. So just using Momotaro episode, yeah, like this, just introducing based on the Momotaro story, just explain the national idea of expected Japanese nation. And this is a so good example of Momotaro's transformation from the old Momotaro to change their characters to catch up the modernization of Meiji nation. And original story, Momotaro just decided to help their old mother and father decided to conquer the Demon's Islands. But in this version, Momotaro just received the decree directly from the Emperor of Japan. And the Momotaro just leave the country. And finally, Momotaro conquers the demons and gets the treasures. And the original story, Momotaro bring back the so much amount of the treasures to bring back to their homeland, and especially for the mothers and fathers. But in this explanation of Momotaro just come back to report his victory and to give this treasure to the Emperor of Japan. And this is the, I think, is a first step of the transformation of Momotaro. And next, please. And I have just introduced and this is the original and just changed. And modernization of the process just indicated these cartoons. And the final Momotaro version would be the, next please. Yeah, next, please. And this is the, I think it's the final version of Momotaro to justify the Japanese war effort in the Pacific War. And please, next. And yeah, this one. And this is the, I think it's so good projection of Momotaro, just the image of the Japanese nations expected by the Japanese military and the government during the wartime. And please to back to the and if possible, I want to continue. Maybe I think it's this expansion process of the Japanese empire. Finally, maybe I think it's impossible. Momotaro just projected the process of the Japanese propaganda. And other Japanese cartoons and norakuro would be useful to understand the process of this expansion process and how this structure destructed in the end of the Pacific War. And after that, maybe it's possible. I think it's possible. How the Japanese recovered and rebuild the post-war country to see the turning point of a Japanese re-entry into Asia and Pacific, especially to the to re-enter Indonesia around 1950s, 60s, and its peak would be the 70s to 80s. And if possible, I want to share such kind of the Japanese and Indonesian image of each other through the reflection of cartoons, animations, and other related materials, including subcultures, contents. And today, this is today's first presentation of my effort. It's a part of my effort of research. Thank you. Terima kasih.
ありがとうございます。hari ini perkuliahan kita bersama Yamazaki Sensei mengenai Momotaro. Jadi awalnya itu Momotaro mungkin ada yang udah kuliah tentang Momotaro dengan Bu Susi. Kita juga pernah bahas Sensei tentang Momotaro ni tsite mo jugyo mo arimasu nan desu keredomo. Jadi di sini ada kita juga membahas tentang propaganda dari fairy tale menjadi propaganda. Jadi sebenarnya masuknya Jepang itu kapan sih? Ngapain sih? Ternyata dari animasi itu bisa dijadiin propaganda yang tadinya Momotaro itu Jepang, terus diikuti dengan binatang-binatangnya Sensei ya. Nanti ditambahin sama Susi Sensei, lalu ada elang, itu Amerikanya. Jadi kita bisa ngelihat, oh Jepang itu tidak hanya Jepang aja, Jepang harus diikuti sama Amerika. Mungkin kita bisa bertanya lagi dengan Bu Susi untuk tambahannya juga, Sensei.
Jadi di kuliah sedikit ya kami bahas tentang budaya populer Jepang ya, dan dalam kaitannya dengan propaganda perang. Tadi yang disinggung oleh Yamazaki Sensei ada bagian sebetulnya kalau pengetahuan kita kurang gitu ya, nggak akan tahu. Jadi misalnya tampangnya Roosevelt ya, Presiden Amerika, terus Perdana Menteri Churchill ya. Jadi kalau kita cuma belajar Jepang aja ya, tidak tahu kondisi dunia waktu itu, tidak akan tahu ini maksudnya apa. Jadi ada Momotaro, kemudian dia membasmi, membunuh iblis ya, Oni kan ya. Oni itu siapa? Tampang itu kalau kita tidak tahu ya tidak akan tahu. Jadi ini sebetulnya entahlah bagian dari hubungan internasional. Jadi memang belajar harus lebih komprehensif ya, terutama kalau kita belajar tentang Jepang, sebetulnya kita tuh belajar tentang dunia. Karena Jepang itu kontaknya, hubungannya ya, saling mempengaruhi dengan banyak negara di dunia, negara-negara Asia, bahkan sampai Amerika, sampai Inggris gitu, Eropa juga. Ya saya kira ini hari ini juga kita dapat banyak masukan ya, tambahan ya dari materi yang sudah kita pelajari hari ini. Ya, terima kasih Sensei.
Mungkin ada teman-teman di sini yang mau bertanya dengan Yamazaki Sensei mengenai perkuliahan hari ini. Oke,
Sensei、改めて自己紹介させていただきます。ダルマブサダ大学の教員でハユンと申します。よろしくお願いします。saya juga alumni KWJ。まあ、質問ではないんですけれど、ただ、インドネシア語でも大丈夫ですか、先生。はい。Kebetulan saya di Universitas Dharma Persada mengajar tentang kesusastraan Jepang. Dan saya pernah membahas Momotaro, dua versi cerpen. Yang pertama ditulis oleh Wilayah Sazanami, dan di situ digambarkan Momotaro sangat heroik sekali, Sensei. Dan di satunya lagi karya Akutagawa Ryonosuke yang ditulis pada tahun 1920-an. Di situ digambarkan sangat terbalik, di mana Momotaro digambarkan sebagai seorang apa ya, semacam penjahat seperti itu, dan pada saat Akutagawa Ryonosuke menulis cerita ini, sebelumnya Akutagawa berkunjung ke Cina dan bertemu dengan seorang scholar, saya lupa namanya, dan scholar tersebut mengatakan bahwa salah satu orang Jepang yang paling dibenci adalah Momotaro. Seperti itu. Dan sampai saat ini saya sedikit penasaran dengan ada 3 hewan, burung, monyet. Nah di situ menurut Sensei, apakah ketiga hewan ini merupakan representasi dari sesuatu atau bagaimana? Terima kasih. Iya.
Ya, terima kasih. Terima kasih banyak. Saya coba berbahasa. Ya, kebetulan ya, saya hari ini saya mau introduksi, tapi tentang Akutagawa Ryunosuke. Dia juga itu sangat terkenal. Mungkin ada terjemahan cerita-cerita oleh Akutagawa Ryunosuke. Maka Momotaro juga ada cerpen oleh Akutagawa Ryunosuke. Momotaro.
Kalau di terjemahannya Indonesia,
Tapi, ya, sesungguhnya, saya coba mempersiapkan cerpen Akutagawa Ryunosuke. Mungkin, bisa membaca, tapi maaf ya itu belum ada terjemahan dalam bahasa Inggris juga ada. Inggrisnya belum
ya,
belum. Ada. Belum. Sesungguhnya itu tahun 1920-an, 30-an-nya itu ada serious debate, ada masalah sosial zaman apa ya perang Pasifik, khususnya itu seperti apa ya, Dan芥川nya itu hari ini mainly I'm just trying to introduce the pihak pemerintah dan apa ya pihak militer. Tapi芥川nya itu sangat penting. Itu ada apa ya? Ada serious conflict sebelum Perang Pasifik. Dan apa ya? Sepertinya itu khususnya itu tahun 1920-an itu apa ya pemerintah dan militer sangat takut itu communist influence into the penetration of expansion of the in the Japanese society. Masyarakat Jepannya itu ada apa ya revolusi di Rusia dan sesudah perang dunia pertama. Dan lain kali saya mau membicara tentang apa ya sejarah modern sejak Siberian Japan sent Japanese military and government just tried to send the Japanese army to Siberia to prevent the expansion of communist ideology. And I think it's saya kira tahun 1920-an-nya itu the Japanese Communist Party, Partai Komunis Jepang just established. Saya kira itu tahun 1920-an ya, seperti negara Asia yang lain itu situasinya seperti sama. Saya kira itu apa ya jajahan Belanda, pemerintah jajahan Belanda juga takut sebelum Perang Pasifik tahun 1920-an. Dan itu kalau kami apa ya shed light on the Momotaro, it's also various people, various party just try to project and use the image of Momotaro, just promoting. And saya kira Sushi Sensei just mentioned that what just reflected the image of demon. I think it's Momotaro's transformation I only just mentioned. But image of demon also just reflected the Japanese people's governments or business circle, other idea and stereotype just directly projected the image of demon. And I think it's Akutagawa Ryunosuke's Momotaro. It's sangat penting. Dan saya kira Anda sudah membaca cerpen Akutagawa Momotaro. Itu juga apa ya reflected. Momotaro is a not good figure. It's a bad guy. And their parents, ibu dan bapaknya tidak mau bersama dengan Momotaro. Dan Momotaro juga tidak mau apa ya Momotaro he also just didn't like the so usual life, and he wanted to leave the home country to try to get another dream, another chance to return to the Demon's Islands. And also just the Momotaro. Momotaro is a horrible massacre. And apa ya, maaf, still confusing the two languages. And maybe I think it's Momotaro. Akutagawa's Momotaro is another face of the Japanese societies in the pre-war Japan. And maybe I think it's aftermath. Akutagawa, unfortunately, light the aftermath and the future of the Momotaro's activities for this, and bagaimana if Momotaro and Akutagawa survive the war. I think it's impossible. Anyway, the Momotaro's and the demons characters, I think it's directly or indirectly just reflected the Japanese public's stereotypes and expectation of various actors in the pre-war and wartime Japan, I think. And thank you very much.
Oke, terima kasih kepada Yamazaki-san, sama Sensei setelah mengaplikasikan tentang, saya juga baru tahu Akutagawa. Ternyata ada cerpennya juga tentang Momotaro. Terus ada pertanyaan lagi dari teman-teman yang lainnya? Panitia boleh? Ada yang mau ditanya?
Ya, terima kasih Pak Amira. Sensei, izin bertanya. Momotaro digambarkan sebagai hero di Jepang. Tadi ditampilkan dalam slide ada Japan is leader of Asia, Japan is like of Asia. Tapi sejarahnya Jepang menjajah kolonialisme in Hindia Belanda. Apakah propaganda militer melalui animasi Jepang menjadi berbahaya karena itu semacam menurut saya manipulasi sejarah seperti itu. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih. Ya, sesungguhnya itu juga manipulasi. Tidak apa ya, never reflecting the real situation of Japanese military administrations. It's just a propagation, how the Japanese army, how the Japanese military tried to get mind. And this is also just so stereotype of Japanese military. I've also just read the memoir of this project's leader, and he also just mentioned 3A. Tiga A. I think it's for the Indonesian students learn in the school, I think. But this is just a manipulation to turn over the already forces propagation of V, 3V movements. I think it's original propaganda slogan. It's just only one. It's a victory. But according to this creator of this slogan, how can we fight against the V movement? It's a so thing, but not so good idea found. So how about turn turn V? I think it's like the Gundam series. I think it's a turn A Gundam. It's a namanya ada ya.
Ada anime namanya Gundam.
Animation.
Nah, itu ada kisahnya dari sini ke A. Jadi ada kisah.
It's like that. I'm not sure, but this Tiga is originally the V victory movement of propagation, and I think it's occupied territory of Germany, in France and Europe. It's just a resistance movement slogan. It's a V. And Churchill also just like to show the V sign. But for the Japanese, it's also just one of the manipulation of propaganda for the Japanese military staff in Indonesia, I think. And so, but this is only just the manipulation of data, and only just cover up the Japanese military war effort, only just to promote. And how could we get the support of the Indonesian people? And also this also just. And thank you very much. And such kind of the manipulation, maybe I think it's even in the post-war period. Itu juga sangat penting to think about such kind of the manipulation. It's a meaning, the modern meaning of manipulation. I want to discuss and study about that. Thank you very much.
Jadi mungkin saya akan jelasin kalau misalnya ternyata saya juga baru tahu dari ada animasi namanya Gundam, itu ada Gundam V. Jadi V itu dari Asia juga, V dibalik jadi Asia. Nippongnya Asia Victory. Dari dulu tuh mereka Jepang, Itali sama Jerman itu sekutu, jadi mereka Victory. Jadi peace itu sebenarnya propaganda juga. Oh, dari Belanda itu. Nanti dibalik di propaganda di ininya manipulasi. Sebenarnya mereka juga kalau dari belajarnya Bu Susi pasti kita udah tahu Jepang itu tidak hanya ada aja di Indonesia dijajah datang aja, tapi emang udah ada di Indonesia, jadi tinggal ya udah gulingkan aja Belanda langsung dari V ke Asia gitu. Terus yang aku Tagawa itu ada kisi-kisi juga kalau mau jadi penelitian ya. Ternyata aku Tagawa dengan Momotaro ada kaitan dan eh, apa namanya zaman PKI ya. Komunis ternyata ada di zaman itu ada kisi-kisi itu belum ada yang neliti itu bisa jadi penelitian tentang komunis di zaman 1920 jadi kita tambah tahu lagi pengetahuan dari perkuliahan hari ini. Apakah ada tambahan, Bu Susi? Pak Reza ada tambahan? Oke. Sensei, Nangka Naniga.
Kalau besoknya saya mau introduksi wartime propaganda film parts of apa ya clipping. Satu dari apa ya pemerintah kolonial Belanda. Mereka coba, I think, coba propaganda. Ya, kami orang Belanda sudah siap. Dan apa ya, ada company itu apa ya di hari ulang tahun Queen Wilhelmina. Ya, dan satunya dari pihak Jepang. Jepang juga, ya, Tang E, 3A movement. Mungkin saya membawa clipping. Maka besok saya mau memperlihatkan part of V and A. Mungkin lebih gampang tuh menggeluti apa yang pikirannya orang Belanda dan orang Jepangnya itu good apa ya good explanation I think.
なんか深いの話のことは明日ですね、
はい
先生。はい、わかりました。はい、ありがとうございます、先生。Jadi besok tentang propaganda di film itu akan dijelaskan sama Sensei di besok harinya. Jadi kita bisa lebih tanya lagi tentang propaganda dan lebih tahu lagi ternyata nggak hanya Jepang yang melakukan propaganda, ternyata Belanda juga. Jadi sama aja sebenarnya ya. Jadi dari sana kita bisa lihat nih, oh dari film juga bisa nih untuk jadi penelitian. Jadi teman-teman bisa nanya-nanya yang bersangkutan yang suka dengan propaganda mungkin ya teman-teman yang mau politik bisa lebih tanya lagi besok di hari Selasa sama jamnya jam 1 sampai jam agak lewat ya tadi karena ada kesalahan teknis ya. Jadi sekarang kelebihan 30 menit. Jadi mohon maaf teman-teman yang ada di Zoom. Saya serahkan lagi ke MC. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak kami ucapkan kepada Yamasaki Sensei dan Kak Amira atas sudah mau berbagi ilmu dan diskusi di hari pertama ini. Lalu kami yang ada Zoom, berikutnya kami mengundang seluruh hadirin untuk berfoto bersama. Ya, bisa maju ke depan, kita foto bersama Yamasaki Sensei di hari pertama ini.
Ayo, ayo. Oh, buat dipukul sampai Pak, ini kan kurang dalam kata rasio. Mari berbicara dalam bahasa Jepang. Ini jelas buat orang Indonesia atau Malaysia ya pakai P. Oh, yuk, ayo, ayo mereka, ayo mahasiswa masuk. Ayo. Ya.
Bebas. 1, 2,
Terima kasih. Sekali lagi kami ucapkan pada Yamazaki Sensei, para tamu undangan, dan para peserta yang telah hadir di hari ini. Dengan ini kami memohon izin untuk menutup public lecture di hari pertama. Akhir kata, semoga kita selalu diberkahi dan diberi kesehatan. Sampai bertemu di hari kedua besok. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hai.
ไม่โง่เป็นเด็กนั่งเจอเจอ